In the vast, interconnected web of the 21st century, it is almost impossible to disappear. We live in an era of total surveillance, where satellites can pinpoint a license plate from orbit and digital footprints trace our every move through the ether. But if you travel to the eastern edge of the Bay of Bengal, deep within the Andaman archipelago, you will find a geographical anomaly that defies the modern world. It is a small, forested speck of land called North Sentinel Island. Here, time hasn't just slowed down, it has effectively stopped. Imagine a group of people who have never seen a wheel. They have no concept of a written alphabet, no knowledge of electricity, and no immunity to the common cold. To them, a helicopter is not a feat of engineering, but a screaming metal bird from a realm beyond comprehension. They are the Sentinelese, and they represent the final, unbroken link to our Paleolithic ancestors. They're not merely uncontacted, they are aggressively, violently committed to their isolation. For 60,000 years, while empires rose and fell, while the Industrial Revolution reshaped the planet, and while the internet wove its invisible mesh around the globe, the Sentinelese remained in the shadows of their jungle canopy, watching the horizon with bows drawn. But this isn't just a story about a lost tribe. It is a biological and anthropological mystery that challenges everything we think we know about human resilience. How does a population of perhaps 50 to 200 individuals survive for 60 millennia without collapsing into the genetic trap of inbreeding? How do they maintain a thriving society on an island no larger than Manhattan without ever developing agriculture? Most importantly, what happens to the human psyche when it is severed from the rest of the species for 1,500 generations? The map of humanity wasn't written in a lab. It was carved by the sea and the stone. Welcome to the Helix horizon, where we trace the code that refuses to stay still. To understand the Sentinelese, we have to look at the Great Migration, the moment Homo sapiens first stepped out of Africa and began the long walk toward the ends of the earth. Genetic evidence suggests that the ancestors of the Andamanese, tribes among the first waves of migrants to follow the coastal route along the shores of the Indian Ocean, while other groups pushed north into Europe or east into the heart of Asia, these travelers stayed close to the sea. Eventually, they crossed land bridges that no longer exist, reaching the Andaman Islands when sea levels were significantly lower. Then the world changed. As the last ice age waned and the polar caps melted, the oceans rose, the land bridges vanished beneath the waves, turning the Andaman chain into a series of isolated fortresses. For the Great Andamanese, the Onge and the Jarawa, there was still some level of interaction or proximity to other groups. But for those on North Sentinel, the isolation was absolute. They became a biological time capsule. When we talk about isolation in the modern sense, we usually mean a lack of Wi-Fi or a remote cabin in the woods. But the Sentinelese isolation is deep, molecular, and terrifyingly fragile. Because they have been separated from the global germ pool for so long, they lack the immunological memory that the rest of us take for granted. A simple handshake, a discarded piece of clothing, or even a breath from a tourist could trigger a demographic collapse. To them, we are not visitors, we are biological weapons. This isn't hyperbole. History has shown us exactly what happens when this barrier is breached. In the late 19th century, British naval officer Maurice Vidal Portman landed on the island and kidnapped 6 Sentinelese individuals, 2 adults and 4 children, to study them. Within days, the adults sickened and died, their immune systems defenseless against the bacteria of the Victorian world. The children were returned with gifts, likely carrying the same invisible killers back to their kin. We don't know how many died in the aftermath. We only know that after that encounter, the Sentinelese posture shifted from curiosity to a lethal, uncompromising hostility. But this discovery revealed a hidden cost to their survival. To stay alive, they had to become the most xenophobic society on Earth.
The survival of the Sentinelese is a direct contradiction to the laws of biology as we understand it. In standard population genetics, there is a concept known as the minimum viable population, the lowest number of individuals required for a species or society to avoid the extinction vortex. Generally, scientists suggest the 5,500 rule. You need 50 individuals to prevent an immediate crash due to inbreeding depression and 500 to maintain evolutionary potential. Yet estimates suggest the Sentinelese population may hover between 40 and 150. By all accounts, they should have vanished millennia ago, victims of their own restricted gene pool. When a small group is cut off, the founder effect takes hold. Genetic diversity plummets. Recessive mutations, which usually stay hidden in larger populations, begin to surface, leading to physical deformities, reduced fertility, and weakened immune systems. This is the genetic bottleneck that has claimed countless island species. And yet, the few glimpses we have of the Sentinelese through long-range photography in naval encounters tell a different story. They do not look like a population on the brink of collapse. They appear tall, physically robust, and intensely athletic. There are no visible signs of the skeletal deformities or wasting diseases often associated with extreme isolation.
This suggests a brutal, naturalistic form of genetic management. In a world with no medicine, no surgery, and no safety nets, the environment acts as a relentless filter. Only the strongest reach reproductive age. But there is a deeper possibility. Their genome might have reached a state of purifying selection, where deleterious alleles are purged from the population over thousands of years, because those who carry them simply do not survive to pass them on. They have achieved a precarious, high-wire balance with their environment that the rest of modern humanity has long since abandoned. Their island, though small, is a lush, self-sustaining engine. It is roughly 23 square miles of dense tropical rainforest surrounded by a treacherous ring of coral reefs. Unlike the neighboring Andamanese tribes, who occasionally traded for iron or tools with outsiders, the Sentinelese have remained almost entirely autarkic. They are hunter-gatherers in the purest sense. They don't plant seeds, they don't till the earth. They live off the fruits of the forest, the eggs of seagulls, and the rich bounty of the reefs. However, their Stone Age label is a misnomer that reveals our own bias. While they do use stone and bone, they have proven to be remarkably adaptive. When cargo ships like the Primrose ran aground on their reefs in the 1980s, the Sentinelese didn't worship the wreck as a god. They didn't flee in terror. Instead, they waited for the storms to subside, boarded the vessel, and began scavenging. They realized that the hard stones of the ship, the steel hull and iron fittings, could be cold hammered into lethal, razor-sharp arrowheads. They integrated 20th century metallurgy into their Neolithic lifestyle without ever needing to learn how to smelt ore. This adaptability is what makes them so formidable. They aren't frozen in time, they are a modern people who have mastered a specific, localized reality. They have watched our ships pass by for centuries, and they have reached a collective, cross-generational conclusion. The world outside offers nothing they want and everything they fear. This isn't a lack of intelligence, it is a calculated survival strategy. Every time an outsider approaches, they are met with a coordinated tactical response. The Sentinelese don't just shoot arrows, they shoot with a purpose. But this rigid defense was put to the ultimate test in December 2004, when the Earth itself tried to erase them. The Indian Ocean earthquake and the resulting tsunami were so powerful they tilted the planet's axis. The Andaman Islands were at the epicenter of the catastrophe. In the aftermath, as the world looked at the flattened coastlines and the tens of thousands of dead, many assumed the Sentinelese were gone. How could a tribe living on the beach
survive a wall of water 30 feet high. But as the Indian Coast Guard sent a helicopter to survey the island, expecting to find only ruins and corpses, a lone Sentinelese warrior emerged from the trees. He didn't wave for help. He didn't beg for food. He notched an arrow, aimed it at the pilot, and fired. The tribe hadn't just survived, they had anticipated the ocean's rage. But their survival of the tsunami revealed a secret about the island that changed its geography forever. The 2004 tsunami didn't just bring death, it fundamentally altered the physical makeup of North Sentinel Island. The tectonic shift was so violent that the entire island plate was lifted upward by roughly 1 to 2 meters. In an instant, the ancient coral reefs that had been submerged for millennia were thrust into the open air, dying and bleaching white in the sun. The island literally grew in size, gaining a new, jagged perimeter of limestone and dead coral. For any other civilization, such a radical change to the landscape would be a catastrophe. For the Sentinelese, it was an expansion of their territory. They didn't need a geological survey to understand what had happened. They simply moved their fishing grounds and adjusted their hunting patterns. This resilience stems from a deep ancestral knowledge of the land, a biological literacy that modern humans have traded for Google Maps and weather apps. They read the behavior of the birds, the vibration of the ground, and the retreat of the tide. While the civilized world was caught off guard, the Sentinelese had already moved to the highest points of the interior forest. This brings us to a haunting realization. The Sentinelese might be the most prepared humans on Earth. They exist in a state of permanent readiness. This isn't just about surviving nature, it's about surviving us. To them, the civilized world is a source of noise, pollution, and death. Since the 1990s, the Indian government has maintained a hands-off, eyes-on policy, realizing that any attempt to integrate the tribe would result in their immediate extinction. They have created a 5-mile exclusion zone around the island, patrolled by the Indian Navy. North Sentinel is, for all intents and purposes, a sovereign nation with a population that has never signed a treaty. Yet the wall of isolation is occasionally breached by those who believe their own ideology is more important than the tribe's survival. The most famous recent case occurred in 2018 when a young American missionary named John Allen Chow paid local fishermen to smuggle him onto the island. Chow wasn't a colonizer in the traditional sense. He believed he was on a divine mission to bring Christianity to the last unreached people. His diary entries reveal a man caught between romanticized notions of adventure and a genuine, if misplaced, concern for their souls. But the Sentinelese did not see a savior. They saw a trespasser. They saw a potential vector for disease. They saw an equilibrium they had maintained for 60 centuries. After several attempts to approach them, one of which resulted in an arrow piercing his waterproof Bible, Chow was killed on the beach. His body was never recovered. The Indian government, respecting the tribe's autonomy and fearing the biological risk of a recovery mission, left him where he fell.
This tragedy highlighted the irreconcilable gap between the Sentinelese and the outside world. It wasn't just a clash of religions, it was a clash of fundamental realities. To the modern world, the island is a mystery to be solved or a soul to be saved. To the Sentinelese, the island is simply the world. There is no outside that matters. But this event forced anthropologists to ask a darker question. Is North Sentinel Island a sanctuary, or is it a high-stakes genetic prison? As the climate changes and the oceans continue to rise, the very reefs that protect them may become their undoing. If the fish stocks fail, or a new pathogen finds its way ashore via a piece of plastic debris,
The tribe has no backup plan. They are a single point of failure civilization. But this vulnerability is exactly what makes their continued existence so miraculous. They are living proof that the human blueprint doesn't require a global supply chain to thrive. The precariousness of the Sentinelese existence forces us to reconsider the very definition of progress. In the modern West, we view the accumulation of data, the expansion of infrastructure, and the lengthening of lifespans as the ultimate metrics of success. We see the Sentinelese and instinctively want to uplift them to provide the medicine, the nutrition, and the security that we enjoy. But to do so would be to destroy the very thing that makes them unique, their total, unadulterated independence from the global machine. Biologically, the Sentinelese are a control group for the human species. They are the only population on Earth that has not been touched by the Neolithic revolution in a meaningful way. They don't suffer from the diseases of civilization, diabetes, hypertension, or the chronic stress of the digital grind. Their hearts beat to the rhythm of the tides, not the notification pings of a smartphone. Their genetic code remains a pure reflection of the environment they inhabit, unmixed and unshielded by the artificial buffers of modern technology. But this purity comes at a price that we find difficult to stomach. Life on North Sentinel is likely nasty, brutish, and short by our standards. There is no anesthesia for a broken limb. There are no antibiotics for an infected wound. Infant mortality is presumably high, and the elderly likely do not survive long once they can no longer contribute to the hunt. Yet they choose this. Every arrow fired at a passing plane is a vote for their way of life. Every refusal to communicate is a rejection of our version of reality. They have looked into the maw of the modern world and decided they would rather die on their feet than live on their knees in a reservation or a museum. This raises a profound ethical dilemma for the Indian government and the global community. Do we have a duty to protect them from themselves, or do we have a duty to protect them from us? Currently, the policy of managed ignorance is the only thing keeping them alive. By choosing not to know them, we allow them to exist. The moment we discover their language, map their genome, or catalog their beliefs, we begin the process of their dissolution. To observe them is to change them. To touch them is to kill them. But even this splendid isolation is being eroded by the invisible tendrils of the Anthropocene. The Sentinelese may not have factories, but they are increasingly surrounded by our trash. Plastic bottles from Thailand, nets from Vietnam, and chemical runoff from the mainland wash up on their pristine shores. The fish they catch in the shallows are likely contaminated with microplastics they didn't create. Even if we never set foot on their sand, our choices in the cities are slowly poisoning their sanctuary. The helix of their existence is being twisted by forces they cannot see and will never understand. The story of the Sentinelese is a mirror. It reflects our own deep-seated anxieties about our place in the world. We are fascinated by them because they represent what we used to be and what we fear we have lost. They are a reminder that for most of human history, the world was only as far as you could walk and as much as you could see. They possess a clarity of purpose that is almost enviable in its simplicity. Survive, protect the tribe, and keep the fire burning. But this clarity is under threat from a force more subtle than a tsunami or a missionary. As global temperatures rise and the chemistry of the oceans shifts, the very reefs that have fed the Sentinelese for 60,000 years are dying. The coral bleaching that followed the 2004 uplift was just the beginning. If the reefs collapse, the entire ecosystem of North Sentinel collapses with them. The tribe may find themselves in a position where their traditional knowledge is no longer enough to sustain them. But this discovery revealed a hidden cost to our own curiosity. If we step in to save them from an ecological collapse, we destroy their sovereignty. If we stay back, we watch them vanish. There is no middle ground when dealing with the absolute. What we are witnessing in the Bay of Bengal is a high-stakes standoff between two different versions of humanity. On one side, a globalized, hyper-technological civilization that has mapped the stars but lost its connection to the soil. On the other, a small band of warriors who know every tree, every tide, and every bird call on their 23 square miles of Earth. We call them primitive, yet they have achieved a level of sustainability that our greatest engineers can only dream of. They have lived in the same place for 60,000 years without exhausting their resources, without poisoning their water, and without a single line of written law.
The Sentinelese are not a relic of the past. They are a warning for the future. They prove that the human blueprint is incredibly durable, but it is also highly specialized. When we look at their resistance, we aren't just seeing hostility. We are seeing the immune response of a culture that knows its own limits. They understand, perhaps better than we do, that once you open the door to the outside world, you can never truly close it again. The progress we offer comes with a price tag they are unwilling to pay, the surrender of their identity. But as the 21st century marches on, the walls of their fortress are thinning. It isn't just the rising sea levels or the plastic on the beach. It's the satellite imagery that puts their fires on our screens, the drones that can peek through their canopy, and the global curiosity that turns their tragedy into content. We are the first generation of humans to possess the power to watch a society die in real time without ever touching it. The mystery of the Sentinelese remains one of the few true secrets left on this planet. We don't know what they call themselves. We don't know how they mourn their dead. We don't know what stories they tell their children as the sun sets over the Bay of Bengal. And perhaps that is how it should remain. Their silence is their strength. Their invisibility is their shield. In a world where every inch of the map has been colored in, North Sentinel Island remains a blank space, a reminder that humanity is not a monolith and that some codes are meant to stay encrypted. The story of our species is often told as a straight line from the cave to the stars, a narrative of constant expansion and integration. But the Sentinelese suggest a different shape, a circle, a closed loop that finds perfection in its own boundaries. They are the guardians of a different way of being human, a living testament to the fact that we don't always have to move forward to survive. Sometimes, the most radical thing a society can do is stay exactly where it is. The map of humanity wasn't written in a lab. It was carved by the sea and the stone. And as long as the Sentinelese stand on their shore with bows drawn, that map will never be truly finished. The Sentinelese have managed to survive 60,000 years of isolation, but they aren't the only ones who have mastered the art of living on the edge. In the high altitudes of the Andes, another group of humans has adapted to a reality that would be lethal to the rest of us. Not through isolation, but through a genetic mutation that allows them to breathe thin air that should be impossible to survive. To understand how the human code rewrites itself for the clouds, you need to see what we found at the top of the world. Click here to explore the secrets of the Himalayan high-altitude genes.